Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and yes, we're back on with the Windows 98 Bridge PC build. And oh boy, have I been having some fun. If you remember on the last video, I got to the point where basically I got the system basically together. If you notice, it's changed a little bit since you last saw it. But we couldn't get it to boot from CD, and I tried making a boot disk using my laptop, and last thing we tried was trying to boot on that, and it wouldn't read the disk even though the disk was working fine in my Win98 laptop. Anyway, I swapped the floppy drive out. It just turns out that drive, it was working but it's no longer reading. I'm sure it just needs the heads cleaning and a service. So I've put that to one side and marked it up as bad, and we'll look at that in probably an upcoming video when I go through some disk drives I want to see if I can service up. So anyway, I put a good working disk drive in it, and I could boot with the floppy. I could boot the computer up, I could load the CD drivers, and it wouldn't load the CD. The CD that I wrote, and I've wrote quite a few since then, believe me, but the original CD that I wrote there would not read. That's actually why this has got a different drive in it now. So I was starting to suspect it was a faulty CD drive, because I could put this disc in my Windows 98 laptop, it'd load perfectly. I could run it no problem at all. I could see the contents on it anyway. Could not boot from it, and this brings me to another thing. Now, I was aware that certain versions of Windows 98 weren't CD bootable, but what I wasn't aware of was that it's only the OEM versions of Windows 98 which are actually bootable from CD. And so thanks to people leaving comments in my comments section, and thanks for doing that, because I don't mess with Windows 98 every day. In fact, it's some years actually since I actually got down and messed about with a Windows 98 system. In fact, I think last time I actually built one, it was my my laptop that I'm using down there, and I've had that going for quite a few years now. So it's not something like I said, I'm terribly familiar with. Anyway, someone pointed out, like I said, it was only the OEM version of Windows that would work with it. So I thought, right, fair enough. But before that, I was thinking, after I burnt that CD there, I wonder if it's the media. I just wonder if it was a little bit of an iffy thing with the media. So I burnt another copy of that, and that on a different disc. That didn't work either. So I thought, right, I'll get a OEM copy of the ISO. So I actually went on to WinWorld, and they're even better than using archive.org, to be honest, for stuff like this. They've got like every version of Windows on there, all the different, so they have the OEM version, they have the retail version, they have it in different languages, you name it, it's on there. So anyway, I was able to download the ISO of Windows 98 SE OEM, and I burnt that to a disk. Yeah, so that's a bootable OEM version of Windows 98. I put that in the system, and that wouldn't boot. So I'm starting to think, right, is it definitely the CD driver? So at that point, like I said, I'd swap that out, and I put, that's an old, I think it's a 16 speed. I put that in there. Thought, right, we'll try that. Still no joy. I then managed to dig out, well, I put it now, but basically I found an old Restore CD, Windows 98 Restore CD. I mean, it won't actually install on this computer because it does a check for the computer, but this is a bootable CD. That loaded fine. So it proved that the actual computer can boot from CD. Like I said, that booted up fine. It just got up to where it says, no, this isn't a compact computer, and then shut down. But it proved that this could actually boot from CD. So I'm pulling my hair out at this point. So anyway, I go back, and I'm thinking, it can't be the DVD or the drive that I'm using in my computer to write it. I'm trying to think also, it's because the CDs. I've tried all these CDs in other systems, and it loads them fine, no problem at all. Just this one. Anyway, I thought, I wonder if it's the software that I'm using, because I was just using the like stock Windows 7 like ISO burning feature that it's got built in. So I went back online and I downloaded a copy of it's called CD Burner XP. I think it's probably quite old, but it works fine on the Windows 7 system. And I reburnt the second, you know, the ISO, the OEM ISO onto this disc here, and this one works. So finally we actually have a disc that we can load Windows 98 onto this system. So what I'll do, I'll get the camera reset so you can actually see more of what's going on, and we'll actually try and see if we can get this to set up on this computer. One thing I have done though, because it was driving me crazy, is I've actually quietened that CPU fan down. So if I switch on now, as you can see, that is not making a horrendous noise anymore. What I actually ended up doing, I've put the speed controller that came with the fan, I actually wired that in instead. So we can go, that's on low speed, which it seems perfectly happy with. I've had this computer on for a few hours messing about. We can go to a medium speed, or we can go to ludicrous speed, which is how it is. So as you think you'll agree, we'll stick with low speed, because that, I mean, that's perfectly usable at that. How that actually works, interestingly enough, I did crack it open and have a look inside it, and all you've got is a load of diodes just in series with you know, basically switched in and out of circuit depending on what speed you want. So if I wanted to do away with all that, I could, and just put, you know, say 5 diodes in series, and it's just using the forward voltage drop on the diodes to drop the voltage to the fan. It's that simple. So I might do that so I can at least get away from that, because it is a bit clunky and it is going to short something out of moving the computer about and stuff like that. Anyway, like I said, I'll get reset back up on the system and we'll actually finally see if we can get Windows 98 to install on this computer. So back in a sec. Right, okay, we're all set up. Hopefully you can see everything. So I've got the computer set up, my screen, keyboard, and I've got a serial mouse plugged into it. Now, if I can't get the serial mouse to work, I do have a rather nasty USB mouse here, but I'd like to see if I can get the serial mouse to work, to be honest. Especially, like I said, with what I intend to do with this system. Right, fingers crossed. Like I said, I have given this a quick try and did at least get it to load the CD, but I have not actually tried to install Windows 98 yet, so let's make a start of that. Incidentally, I've got the hard drive configured as 40 gig, and at least one person's commented and said that that's fine for Windows 98. It can do up to like 120 odd gig or something like that without problems. So I don't know where I got the idea of the 32 gig issue from. I know some BIOSes have that problem with bigger hard drives. Keep your fingers crossed. There we go. Boot from CD-ROM. Then we start Windows 98 startup from CD-ROM. There we go. Right, we're into setup. So to set up Windows now, press enter. Right, configure unallocated disk space. Yes. Yes, we want to enable large disk support. Because it doesn't matter for this hard drive, you know, because we're not going to be trying to look at this hard drive on like a Windows 95 machine or a DOS machine. Set up will restart your computer now. Please make sure Windows 98. Alright, so we're going to have to do that using the boot disk, I think. Because this hard drive basically isn't... in fact, we should be able to do it using the CD. We should be able to boot using CD support. Go in, use F-disk. Set up the partition on the hard drive. No, let's try there it is, there's that boot disc. Right. Let's do what it's asking us to do. Hopefully it'll boot from the floppy now, which it sounds like it is doing. Oh, I've moved the hard drives around. I'll just like this, right, we'll start the computer with CD-ROM support, and while this is doing this, I'll just explain. I have actually moved the hard drives around, so the hard drive is actually in its correct location here at the front of the computer. What I've done, because I didn't have a cable long enough, but I have actually come up with a solution to that, so when we go into this next and do some upgrades and swap that back for the writer and everything, I'll show you my plan for that. I'll be putting a 5 1/4 in there at the same time, but that's not for this video, that's for, like I said, an upcoming video. But for, like I said, for now I've put the hard drive in there and put that on the primary master channel. And I've just put the CD on the secondary master channel for the time being, just so we can get the computer installed with Windows 98 and up and running. And like I said, then in an upcoming video I'm going to swap some of these things round a little bit. And as you can see, I've also installed that SD card reader and compact flash reader in the front as well. Right, we're nearly there now. In fact, I remember this back in the day, taking time to actually get an operating system installed. It's not like it is nowadays where you just stick your memory stick in the back of the computer, reboot your computer, and there you go, you install your operating system. It was a little bit more involved back in the day. Right, okay, so let's do an F disk. Right. Do you wish to enable large disk support? Yes, we do. Like I said, we're not going to be trying to read this hard drive on like a DOS machine or anything. This is purely to boot this system with. Right, so let's create a DOS partition. Let's create our primary DOS partition. So it will allow us to make a 38 gig DOS partition. Right, escape to continue. So let's display partition information. That sounds like it's already made it. Yeah, we've got a primary DOS partition, system unknown, usage 100%. So do we need to format it? Yeah. I think this might take some time. Yeah, this is going to take a considerable amount of time to do, so I'll tell you what, I'll pause the camera and we'll come right back when this thing has formatted this hard drive. And I think at that point we can actually continue with this installation, so back in a sec. Right, okay, we're back, and about 30 odd minutes have passed. I've got myself a nice cup of coffee, and it's finally finished. Now, I wasn't here all the time, but I did notice it did have a few issues, so that I think there are a few bad sectors on this hard drive, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. Let's have a quick look here. So let's call it, we'll call it C drive. Alright, we've got 2.5 meg in bad sectors on a 40 gigabyte hard drive, so I don't suppose that's going to be too bad. So we have a formatted hard drive, so let's try going to the CD. I think we can just try it set up from here. Excellent. Exit there. So and our mouse is working. Brilliant. Right. Continue. One nice thing with having this much RAM and this much CPU power, this shouldn't take too long. It's telling us 36 minutes. So we want C colon Windows, yeah. Right, we're going to want a typical, a portable, a compact, or a custom. Shall we say I'm an advanced user? Let's go to custom. We can have absolutely everything, to be honest, can't we? Because it's not as though we're short on disk space. But you never know whether we want to play with something in the future, so we might as well have like I said, literally everything we can have on here. Let's have all the desktop themes. We'll have all the internet tools. Might as well have all the multi-language supports. All the multimedia. All the system tools. We'll even have web TV for Windows, shall we? So I don't think we can really have anything else. We've literally got every single thing, every option we can possibly have. I mean, this might bite me, bite me back. I wonder why we can't select that as well. Dial-up ATM support. We can't obviously support do that, but apart from that, we've got every single option clicked here. Computer name, let's call it Workshop Bridge. There we go, Workshop Bridge. Next. Yeah. Yep. We don't really need to make this disc, do we? Because we've already got it. So, and hit cancel on that because we already have a perfect good startup disk. Right, let's start copying files. Let's see how quick this is going to be. Obviously, it's going to take too much time. I'll pause the video and we'll come back when this is actually finished. Yeah, I think that's what we'll have to do because it's telling them we've got 24 minutes there, so we don't want to make this video too long, do we? Because I'm sure not everyone wants to watch me actually installing Windows on this computer, but we'll come back as soon as this has done something and we've got to actually do something, so back in a sec. Right, well that took a damn sight less than 30 odd minutes, I can tell you, to get to this point. So it's a set up this narrator, restart your computer, so we'll pop the disk out and we will click OK. Restart it now. And let's see how long the next part of the installation is going to take. Again, I'd say if it's going to take a mega amount of time, then I won't bother. There we go, so far so good. We have a working, right, excellent. Name, we don't really need that information. Just click next. Oh, we must type a name, so what should we call it? Let's call it that'll do. Let's accept the agreement. Right, now I've got a number of license keys, but these two came with this particular ISO that I'm using. So, I've got a couple of license keys here. Let's try. I'll try sticking one of these in. Now, these are available on the same site on WinWorld. And there's loads and loads of different CD keys, so I'm not worried about people seeing these. They're not mine. So we've got RW. Now I'm not sure if it's case sensitive. They're not the Win98 CD keys. I can't remember. No. Right, let's see if this one's going to work. Click no. Yep, it had that one. Click finish. Right, so it's telling us we've got 15 minutes left to go. We'll let it run for a couple of minutes, and like I say, it's going to, well, it might be a lot less than 15 minutes considering how fast this system is. But if you consider that Windows 98's minimum requirements was a 486 DX266 with 16 megs of RAM, and we've got a Pentium 4 class Celeron at 2.4 gigahertz with 256 megabytes of RAM, so I'm expecting it to be reasonably quick, the installation. I mean, hard drive wise, the actual hard drive speed is probably not going to be that much faster because we are just running a stock IDE hard drive. Obviously, we're stuck in SSD or something like that, it would be significantly faster, but I like using old hard drives, to be honest. That's going really quick. And of course, once this installation is complete, we'll have a go with this. This is the motherboard driver CD, which has got all the Windows 98 drivers on board. We've got Windows 98, Windows ME and Windows XP, Windows 2000 ME and XP drivers on there. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go with this board, because I did know that it was supported by Windows 98. Let's do a restart. We're getting there. It's getting quite close now, I think. Now, I do want to get this working with its onboard sound and graphics to start with. Like I said, we will probably be putting something like a Sound Blaster Live in this eventually, and probably a better graphics card as well. But for the moment, for initial playing about with, and for, like I said, going back through those hard drives and what have you, I'll leave it as a fairly stock as it is, like I said, onboard sound and graphics. So it's telling us we've got 12 minutes left to go on this. Yeah, I've definitely got the hard drive light connected up to the power LED. I'm just noticing on the front of the case there that the power LED is flashing and the hard drive light's off, so I will have to have a fiddle about with the connectors inside and just get that right. But we have a nice bright power LED there as well. Right, I'll tell you what, I will actually pause the video because you don't want to listen to dead air or anything. So, oh, what's it doing? It's doing something. Alright, no, it's doing something, so let's carry on through this. So it wants us to set some time zones. And it thinks it's January, right, so let's go, it's January, June, July. And it's the 5th, 6th of July, no, it's the 5th of July today. Let's set the right time zone. There we are, London. time doesn't matter too much, and this thing's never going to see the internet, so it doesn't really matter. Let's apply that. Okay. Let's see how fast this actually flies through here. I remember first installing Windows 98, I think on a, what did I have back then? It would have been a Cyrex based Pentium 200 I had. And I can tell you it took, I think I had 16 meg of RAM in it, and I can tell you it took considerably longer than, did it have 16 or 30? No, it had 16 meg of RAM in it, and it was horrendously slow and horrible to use with Windows 98 on it. It had been okay with Windows 95 on it. And I actually had to put stump it up to 32 megs just to make it usable with Windows 98 on it. That's going back a few years. Also, if you consider, I've installed every single option you possibly can on Windows 98 on here. Now, that might come back and bite me in the backside, but we'll see. But even so, you can see how fast this thing's installing Windows. Now, it's telling us 10 minutes, but we're nearly at the end of here, so I can't see how... We always used to call them Microsoft minutes when you used to see the countdown there. This is the type of thing that always used to take the longest time as well, when it used to come up with the you know, updating system settings, and it used to be this thing: is it going to crash? Is it going to crash? Because that did used to happen. You know, you get all the way through an installation and get to this part, you could even get right to the end and it would just hang there, and you'd be pulling your hair out trying to figure out what on earth's gone wrong. I'm suspecting this is going to actually be pretty quick now, just by, like I said, the sheer power of this system. Got a lot of hard drive activity going on as well. It's just slightly off camera shot. Let me see if I can just sneak the... I can't push that over, and I don't want to jar it, and I could always tweak you over slightly, can't I? There you go. Now you can see the hard drive light going mad there. I'm expecting to do now, it'll go from here, it'll just fly to another point, and then it'll probably hang for a little bit and then keep going again. Oh, it seems to be going quite quick now, and we are literally on the last thing it's telling us we need to do. So we'll let it play out, we'll let it go. I'm actually getting quite interested to see what I can mess about with this as well. I have got goals for this computer. At some point I do want to see whether I can run that on it, because apparently obviously I will need a better graphics card, but apparently that will run on this system. We'll have to see how well, and then I also want to try it on Andy's retro gaming system when I've got that rebuilt, and see how well it'll play on that, with if I can get that graphics card that he gave me in that system, or at least an equivalent graphics card in it, and we'll see how well it plays on that as well. But yeah, we're nearly there, 1 minute left to go. That's actually a game I've never actually played. I used to love the original Half-Life when that came out. Me and my friends used to play it. We used to have a network set up to play it. But I've never actually played the Half-Life 2, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. Right, we can restart that now. Right, let's see how it's going to go. Hopefully this should now boot into Windows. There we go, Windows 98. and that is loading from the hard drive. Right, let's see here. There we go. There's the classic Windows 98. Okay, we don't need a password on the system. Now obviously we're going to have to do something with some drivers. Be interesting to see where it's actually picked the sound card up, because I think it's like an AC97 chipset on the main board, so it's only Windows 98 compatible. Like I say, it's not a DOS sound card. That's why I'm thinking about probably sticking the Sound Blaster Live in it. Right, obviously no, it hasn't picked up any audio there. Oh, this is some of that stuff. Right, we'll cancel that. I'll sort that out at a later date. Right, here we go. Obviously, like I said, we're running on like 16 colour mode at this time, with no sound or anything. That's for this web for TV. Let's pause services. I might have to pull a lot of them things that I actually installed off. It might cause us problems, but we'll see for that in the future. Right, let's close off that. And we'll have a go at this this driver CD and see if we can actually get some better video and some audio out of the system. So I'll pop that back in its case. And I'll remind me to put the Windows 98 on there and the actual the code off there, so we know that works. And at least I know I've now got a good working Windows 98 SE installation disk. And I've got a boot disk as well. Right, let's put this in. And I will swap over to the other, to this drive as well. Put that back in, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right, let's see. It's going to boot the disk. There we go. Let's install all the drivers. This looks fairly easy. Right, next. Let's go to custom again. Yeah, let's have everything. At least we can get to see how good the onboard graphics on this system are. They should be perfectly good for you know, basic gaming and stuff like that. It's just like more advanced stuff they're not going to be able to cope with. And we'll connect up some audio. I think I've got a cable connected up to my soundbar here, so we can plug it into that. No, we don't need to review a README file right now. Let's click next. Shall we restart the computer now? Yeah, we better do, haven't we? Because I know trying to install drivers on top of drivers without restarting your computer, you can cause yourself all sorts of issues. But while that's restarting, I'll pause the video and I'll see if I can just sort out and hook up to the audio, because that's the next thing we're going to be doing. So back in a sec. Right, okay, we are back, and that was also the perfect opportunity to change the battery in the camera, which was just about to die. But I've connected the audio up to the soundbar here, so for the next thing we can actually get some audio. But as you can see already, we now have decent graphics here now. So that's the video driver installed. Let's shut that down, because we don't want to keep seeing that every time we boot Windows up. Right, let's load that CD up again. And we've already done the VGA driver there now, so let's go and let's put the audio driver on. Let's click next. It will be nice to see how good the, like I said, the onboard audio is. I don't think that chip's too bad as just for like basic audio for like in Windows 98 and stuff, but I have heard that you do have issues in some games with it. The AC97 sound implementation. Right, yeah, we might as well let it restart the computer once more. It doesn't take long anyway on this, because it is pretty fast, this computer, for a Windows 98 system. I would like to see if we can get that to center over there. But I do have one issue with this monitor, and that is that all the controls on the monitor, unfortunately, are locked. You can't do anything. They're all, like I said, completely locked like that. I don't know how to get that lock off on this monitor. I might have to look into that. Because other than that, and the fact it's got scratches all over and stuff, it is a nice monitor to use because it's 4.3 and it does do 1024 by 768, I think. Right, it wants the disk labelled Windows 98. Okay, we can give it that. Okay, let's see what it wants to do with this. I'm guessing there's something that it needs. Yeah, let's keep the existing file. Let's keep the existing file. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see if we're going to get some audio coming through. Now, have we got audio? That's the question. It's telling us we have, but I was expecting to get a right test. And we're not getting anything. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we should be getting something there. There should be plenty of audio there. Let me just make sure I'm plugged into the right output on the back of the computer. I'm in the green, which is the one you'd expect for. So we are currently not getting any CD, any audio out, which is a bit of a shame, but that's something we'll have to look at in the future. Right, let's close that for now. Close that for now. And let's take that disc back out. Everything seems to be working software-wise there, but we're not getting the audio out. So I will have to look into that. I'm not going to do that in this video, because I want to just see how far we can get with the actual installation. And to be honest, not having sound isn't going to stop us using this computer for what I really want to use this computer for, which is having a look at those hard drives. And see if we can pull any useful data off them. Right, let's found that again. And I do want to put the LAN drivers on here as well, just in case I do want to actually connect this up to my network, so it would make, you know, be able to transfer files from this up to my main system and what have you a little bit easier. So it's silly not to actually put those drivers on the system. Right, okay, next. Right, let's see what it can do. Right, it wants the Windows 98 CD again. We can give it that. Right, let's click OK. Okay, right. Yeah, so it obviously needs a driver off this disk. Well, let's click finished. Yeah, let's. I don't think it needs that now. Has it crashed? Try taking that disk out. Alright, yeah. Just want me to take that disk out. Right, I think we're nearly there, you know. And put that. Oh, I should really. Do I want to put USB 1.1 support on? I'm guessing that's all that motherboard supports. Which, to be honest, is absolutely fine. Let's restart the computer, and we'll put the USB support on there as well. I'm pretty certain your Windows 98 has got some USB support on there, as in if I plug my USB mouse in, it'll probably recognise it. But we might as well put the proper drivers from the disk on. That does seem to be running a little bit slower now. I'm guessing it's just, you know, it's still doing bits of the update from putting the LAN drivers on there. Yeah, it was just doing some file updates. That's nice and speedy. That seems to be running really nice. At least we've now got the icon for the speaker. But yeah, we still don't seem to have a working sound card, so I will have to investigate that. Right, let's have a look at doing the last Right, are you going to go? Oh, I just haven't clicked it. I don't think I clicked it. No, that doesn't seem to be working. That's odd. Let's close that. I don't know why that's not working, but the rest of the system seems to be working quite nicely. If we go to my computer there. Yep, we can see everything. We've got our A drive, our C drive. And obviously we've got absolutely nothing on here yet. We've just got a very basic installation of Windows. But this video's already probably dragged on, and I'm sure like not everyone wants to watch me install Windows. But I think what we'll do in the next video is I'll have a look, see what I can figure out about that sound card issue. I might have to have a read in the manual, because I at least do have the manual for it here, and I'll have a look online as well, see if anyone else is having them issues. See if we can get that onboard sound card working. It would be nice to get it working, but I do have, you know, Sound Blaster Lives. I think I've got 3 of these, so I can at least put one of my Sound Blaster Lives in here. It would be a nice sound card to have in there, to be totally honest, but like I said, at the moment I'd like to see if I can just get the onboard sound card working. Advantage obviously of the Sound Blaster Live is it means that we've got DOS support for audio, which this sound card isn't going to give us. So anyway, I'll shut this down now and see how quickly it powers down. shut down, shut it down, okay. It should be nice and quick, and it should actually power off. Perfect. And if you notice, it is much quieter now. I probably won't leave that in. I probably will just make up a little diode dropper akin to what's in there, and heat shrink it into the cable. But it seems that it's not overheating, running the fan at that speed, and we've not exactly got a monster CPU in there or anything. We're not really blazing it, so I don't think it's going to be an issue running it a little bit slower. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoy this little update on the project and watching me struggle to get Windows 98 to actually install on this thing. So I will say thanks for watching and goodbye.